What I want to explain is really the procedure that happens under our Connecticut Constitution. Under our Connecticut Constitution, there's a date in which the governor is done with his business that you must come into session, as stated in the Constitution. And when you come into session, the language is that the reconvened session shall be for the sole purpose of reconsidering and, if the General Assembly so desires, repassing such bills. That's Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution. In Article 4, it's stated again that such House shall proceed, this is after Secretary of State delivers the bills, shall proceed to reconsider the bill. And what we were simply saying is that a motion to reconsider, it is by majority vote. Once you determine you're going to reconsider, you then ask for repassage. That's overriding the veto. So it's two separate votes, one to reconsider and one for passage. So what we were asking on a motion before they did the CNADA was let's entertain a motion to reconsider. And if the majority voted that down, that ends session, if you would. And you do it for each bill. They're not all done at once. And what you saw was a few very interesting things. Remarkably, what you saw is the majority leader actually saying that they could pass, first the majority leader saying by bringing a motion to C&D, we're not interested to what the body has to say. We have absolutely no interest in what anybody thinks but us. That's it. The Speaker and the majority leader met with the governor and said, hey, we want to override you, and the governor must have said no. And two people decided for 187 legislators what the proper motive is going to be. If you look at the bills we were going to bring up, they went 36-0. To me, that's bipartisan bill. That's a bill that Republicans and Democrats agreed on in the Senate. And I would argue in the House, a very large majority, Republican and Democrat. So we're saying, listen, if we thought it was good law, the executive branch, Governor Malloy has an absolute right to veto. No question about it. But we as a legislative branch are given the constitutional authority to say, as a legislative branch, we believe policy is important that we pass, and we can override it. These weren't close calls. And what you saw was the Democratic majority saying, we're not going to even entertain the argument. We are not interested in what you have to say. To the point that Senator Duff stood up and arrogantly said, when the hammer fell, we didn't have to listen to Senator Fasano. Think about that. We could get a motion brought up, a slamming by the hammer, and argue no one else gets to speak. That's one-party rule. That's dictatorship. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the state. It's embarrassing for this legislature. And we see what happens when they rush into things. We're doing sales tax on parks for parking. Just see what happens. When they have a bill that's controversial, they want to talk to us. Whether it's excessive force, they want to have a conversation. Whether it's the guns, they want to have a conversation. But when they want, they just push it through. And today we saw the epitome of what arrogance and one-party rule does to an institution. To argue this has never happened is to suggest that you've had the same parties for over 100 years in this building. We overrode Rel 15 or 16 times. Roland, we did. Weicker, we did. What's so special about this? I'll tell you what's special about this. A Democratic majority and Democratic governor. You all heard initially leaders say, we are going to override. And it evaporated like that. Like that. That's the problem. That's the problem. We have a constitution. You want to go with the vote and the majority say not to reconsider? I'm good with that. I'll live with that vote. That's the procedure. But to argue we're not even going to have that conversation just because we can, that's arrogance. And we've seen it in this building when it came to the budget, and we've seen it in this building on a number of different bills. And I just hope the public wakes up and realizes that unless things change, things stay the same.